Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're jumping straight into the structural crisis that is absolutely rocking the European automotive industry right now, and looking at the massive strategic pivot these companies have to make just to survive. For a century, the auto sector has literally been the cornerstone of Europe's industrial identity. But right now, we're witnessing a total paradigm shift. It's this wild, complex mix of geopolitical forces, insanely fast technological advancements, and shifting consumer demands that are turning the global market completely upside down. So for the next few minutes, we're going to unpack exactly what's happening, why these legacy automakers are suddenly fighting for their lives, and the radical new strategy they're being forced to adopt.
To really wrap your head around the scale of this collapse, you just have to look at the Mirafiori plant in Turin, Italy. At its absolute peak, this titanic factory pumped out 1 million vehicles a year and employed 60,000 people. It was the beating heart of the Italian car industry. But today, well, the reality is a lot darker. As one Italian worker powerfully put it, Mirafiori has already been closed. It's just that it reopens sometimes. That quote really hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? It perfectly captures the essence of these ghost town factories popping up across the continent. The whole era where European manufacturing just dominated by default is officially over.
And look, it's definitely not just one factory. This contagion is spreading fast. Just take a look at this staggering number, 9,000. That's the amount of global job losses recently announced by Nissan, and that comes right alongside a 20% cut in their worldwide production capacity. Actually, a senior Nissan official even warned they might only have 12 to 14 months to survive. 12 months. And they are absolutely not alone here. Volkswagen recently shattered a sacred 1994 agreement meant to protect German jobs, announcing they plan to shut down at least 3 of their 10 domestic factories and slash wages by 10%. Stellantis and Ford? Same story. They're making massive cuts and canceling EV production plans in places like the Vauxhall plant in Luton.
Part 1. The Net Zero Trap. So, how exactly did these undisputed titans of the auto industry find themselves on the brink?
Well, analysts point to a mix of legislative ambition and harsh market realities, what a lot of people are calling a regulatory trap. When you look at the root causes, there's a really stark contrast between two completely different global strategies. On one side, you've got the EU and UK's regulatory-centric model. Lawmakers mandated this super rapid transition to EVs, setting strict bans on internal combustion engines for 2030 and 2035. The goal, of course, was to trigger a green reindustrialization. But there was a massive catch. They mandated this without having the mature domestic supply chains to actually pull it off. Then, on the flip side, you have China's state-integrated industrial model. China rolled out this dual circulation strategy, backed by massive state funding, to basically control the entire EV supply chain, from mining the metals all the way to building the batteries. So when European mandates forced everyone to pivot to EVs, it created this huge vacuum. And guess who immediately filled it? Chinese manufacturers, because they already controlled the resources.
Part 2. Smartphones on wheels. Because, this crisis isn't just about regulations.
It's fundamentally about a massive cultural and tech paradigm shift, especially over in China. Have you ever heard the phrase auto de boomer? Think about it. There was a time when buying a German car in China meant you were getting the absolute pinnacle of quality. That deeply satisfying, heavy thud of a car door closing. But today, young Chinese consumers view those traditional Western legacy brands as boomer brands, literally their parents' cars. They honestly don't care about a century of mechanical heritage anymore. What they are demanding is a value and tech proposition. They want completely seamless digital ecosystems and high-tech features. Basically, if the car doesn't function as a highly advanced digital assistant, it just isn't competitive, no matter what fancy logo is on the hood.
To really put this technological leap into perspective for you, just consider this number: 100 million lines. That is the number of lines of code you'll find in a modern digital car today. Let that sink in for a second. That outstrips the software complexity found in commercial airplanes or even modern fighter jets. Innovation has definitively shifted from the mechanics under the hood to digital architecture and software. The vehicle just isn't a mode of transportation anymore. It's a highly sophisticated tech platform capable of over-the-air updates, biometric monitoring, and advanced cybersecurity. So, let's look at how all of this builds into a cohesive vision for the future. The engineering firm Turin Group breaks the future of mobility down into 3 key pillars. First up, connectivity. We're talking cars using 5G and 6G technologies to communicate with literally everything around them. Other vehicles, traffic lights, smart city grids, you name it. Second is automation. Driverless cars navigating using LiDAR, advanced sensors, and AI to digitally reconstruct their environment in real time. And the third pillar is personalization. Imagine operating systems that actually learn your daily habits, monitor your physical condition, and offer customized digital services right through an in-car store. That's where we're heading.
Part 3. China's market dominance. This huge shift towards software-defined vehicles has timed perfectly with strategic industrial planning in the East. It directly fueled their rapid rise. So, how exactly did China pull off this level of dominance? It really boils down to 3 core competitive advantages. First, total supply chain integration. Like we mentioned, they control the entire process from pulling raw earth minerals out of the ground all the way to the dealership floor. Second, they have massive state financial backing, which supports the insane amount of infrastructure needed for a transition like this. And third, a highly pragmatic approach to energy. By leaning on coal for roughly 60% of their electricity, alongside nuclear power, China keeps their industrial energy costs significantly lower than Europe's, and that simply allows them to build faster and a whole lot cheaper. And nothing illustrates this resulting disruption better than this next example. Take Xiaomi. You probably know them for making smartphones, right? Well, they decided to jump into the EV market, and they managed to deliver a high-performance luxury electric sedan from a mere concept to the actual market in just months. Months! They pulled this off by using agile contract manufacturing. They designed the tech and the software in-house, and then just partnered with established manufacturers to build the physical car. Now compare that to the traditional Western waterfall development model, which takes years and years of rigid sequential planning. Basically, legacy automakers are getting totally schooled by agile tech companies that aren't weighed down by a century of heavy historical assets. And the crazy thing is, the technological gap is only widening. Look at the number 4. That's the amount of time, under 4 minutes, it takes for some groundbreaking new battery technology from the Chinese firm CATL to charge up to 80%. When the core technology of your vehicle is advancing at that blistering of a pace, all those past European advantages in mechanical combustion engine design, they're rendered virtually irrelevant. The entire game has changed.
Part 4. Co-opetition as a survival strategy. With European manufacturers facing this literal existential threat, how do they actually survive?
Well, the answer lies in a really interesting concept called co-petition. It's exactly what it sounds like. Strategic collaboration between direct competitors. You know, back in the day, auto giants fiercely guarded their trade secrets, but today, the massive research and development costs required for digitalization, software integration, and electrification are just way too vast for any single company to shoulder all by themselves. To survive this transition to software-defined vehicles, European manufacturers, startups, and SMEs absolutely have to share their infrastructure, their tech, and their skills all along the supply chain.
And we're actually already seeing this collaborative architecture start to take shape. At the recent Re-Mobility event organized by Terresi Group, major players got together to bridge the exact gap we've been talking about today. That massive space between traditional mechanical engineering and the new smart mobility ecosystem. Companies like Terresi are essentially acting as the connective tissue here, helping legacy businesses integrate cutting-edge tech like AI, 6G networks, and advanced sensors straight into their historic manufacturing DNA. To show you what this co-opetition looks like in the real world, check out these projects. The Envelope project is this amazing public-private collaboration that's testing a prototype autonomous electric city car. It processes massive amounts of data via 5G and 6G so it can communicate directly with road infrastructure. Then there's the MOST network, the National Center for Sustainable Mobility. They are designing vehicles to instantly alert other road users if there's an accident and even coordinate with city traffic lights to manage the flow of traffic. This means your daily commute in the future could be completely integrated, so much safer, and highly automated.
Which brings us to a really powerful and honestly probably pretty tough concluding insight from the reports. We must have the humility to accept this situation, learn from China now, and then recover the disadvantage. That is the harsh reality check Europe is facing right now. It's a full acknowledgement that the old world is gone. The path forward isn't about isolating. It's about studying the new market leaders, accepting where the current deficits are, and then figuring out how to apply Europe's historic, world-class manufacturing skills to this brand new digital paradigm.
So I want to leave you with this final thought to ponder today. By embracing humility, adopting co-opetition, and fully committing to the software revolution, can Europe actually reclaim its automotive crown by learning from its rivals? I guess only time will tell if these legacy titans can truly pull off the pivot. But hey, thank you so much for joining me for this explainer today. I really hope you found this deep dive as fascinating as I did. Keep learning, keep questioning, and I will catch you on the next one.